What's up, world? It's your boy Drew Marcy, and in this video we're going to show you how to start a rap verse in 5 different ways that instantly grabs fan attention from the start. We'll provide you with real-life examples from some of the greatest rappers of all time, including Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, Jay-Z, Biggie, and others, and we'll give you an exciting combination of ways to start a rap verse so that you're never questioning how to begin your song in a way that instantly creates a dope track. Now, in addition to knowing how to start a rap verse, I'm sure that you'll want to know how to complete this song from start to finish. So the first thing you should do is definitely subscribe to this channel with notifications, because we drop videos on Monday and Friday every week about the art of how to rap at a professional level. And of course, to round out your songwriting knowledge, be sure to cop our free songwriting course, The Top 20 Songwriting Secrets of Full-Time Rappers. It's a full-length video course totally for free by visiting the video description box below. Now, before we give you the 5 ways, let's make sure that we have some terms that we'll be using in order to get better perspective on how to get different ideas when starting a verse. Differences between first person, second person, and of course third person. First person is when you are speaking from your direct perspective. In other words, I, me, mine, myself. Second person is when you are speaking to somebody about their perspective. In other words, you, yours, yourself, y'all. And third person is when you are talking about somebody else's perspective, but not to you or the listener directly, as in they, his, her, etc. Now, each different perspective gives a different vibe to how you start the verse, and people will react differently depending on how you choose it. So when you're talking to somebody in second person, is you are doing this, or you should listen, or brace yourself, as we'll show, it's gonna sound more like a commanding vibe or calling them to attention. Whereas when you use first person, as in I remember this, or I was doing this, it's gonna sound more like storytelling. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get into the 5 ways so you can instantly start killing these rap verses. Now, the first way you can do it is second person plus describing your surroundings or your behaviors. Speaking to the listener directly in second person is in you or yourself, and describing your surroundings or the behaviors that you have in your natural habitat, so to speak, in your hood, is one of the most common ways of starting a rap verse powerfully. The reason this is effective is because it immediately brings the listener into the world that you're inhabiting and takes them out of whatever they were doing, whatever vibe they were in before they listened to the track. It grabs attention by the nature of the perspective. So if you want to sound like a confident rapper with a story to tell, this is a very good way to get people into your world. For example, Kendrick Lamar starts a song, Mad City, with the lyrics, "Brace yourself, I take you on a trip down memory lane. This is not a rap on how I'm slinging crack or move cocaine. This is a cul-de-sac and plenty cognac and major pain. Not the drill sergeant, but the stress weighing on your brain." So just as we described, Kendrick is starting his verse by ordering the audience in second person to brace yourself, like pay attention, and then he's going to bring them into his surroundings, i.e. a trip down memory lane. He then, of course, describes his behaviors in that surrounding by telling you what he's not going to do, what music this isn't going to be. He's not your stereotypical rapper just talking about selling crack and whatnot. On a similar but slightly different tip, Eminem starts the Real Slim Shady in second person, describing the environment of celebrity culture in the early 2000s as embodied by Pamela Lee Anderson and Tommy Lee. Y'all act like you never seen a white person before. Jaws all on the floor like Pam and Tommy just burst in the door and he started whooping her ass worse than before. They first were divorced, throwing her over furniture. By the way, in this video, a lot of these examples are gonna be really, really well-known rap songs that almost bordering on cliche that we all know, just so it's easy to explain and because they're very successful songs. So if these are not like the most deep examples, like, forgive me, but I'm trying to make it accessible to a larger audience on YouTube. In any case, Eminem is setting up the universe you're about to live in this song by describing the wild antics of celebrity culture and how people can't believe how wild Shady is. So a good way to start a rap song, as shown by these examples, is to start with a you, y'all, yourself, maybe give them a command, and then immediately roll into the behaviors or the surroundings that you're gonna be describing in the song. The rest of Mad City is very similar in what it's talking about to those first few bars. The rest of Real Slim Shady is all about celebrity culture, so you're introducing yourself immediately when you start the verse. Second way is first person and introduce your behavior or character, the type of person that you are. Another common way to start a rap verse is to speak in first person, as an I, me, etc., and describe the kind of person you are. So for example, rather than ordering your audience, talking directly to them, you can do something like, when I go here, this is what happens, or when I'm around these type of people, these people react this way. To develop this further, let's look at 50 Cent starting his classic song In the Club, right? He starts with, when I pull up out front, see the Benz on dubs. When I roll 20 deep, it's 20 knives in the club. Brothers heard I mess with Dre, now they want to show me love. When you sell like Eminem, the hoes, they want to what? In this case, 50 starts in first person and he describes what happens when he personally, what he, from his view, happens when he enters the club, right? There's weapons, there's expensive cars, etc. Now, Dr. Dre uses a similar style to begin his classic Still Dre by describing the fact that when he goes back to his local area, people immediately know he's around from the bass in his cars. It's still Dre Day, AK. Though I've grown a lot, can keep it home a lot. Because when I frequent the spots that I'm known to rock, you hear the bass from the truck when I'm on the block. So in example 2, you can start in first person and just describe people's reactions to you when you enter a place that you locally frequent, your hood, the spots that you're describing, if it's a club song, how people react in the club, and things of that nature. Overall, it's how do people react to you. Third way is first person plus introduce yourself, like actually say who you are, and then describe your behavior. Slightly different. This is kind of a variation on tip 2, but one of the most underrated, especially in the old days, they used to do this a lot, but very underrated these days, is directly spelling out your name in a unique way or saying your name directly, saying your alias, and then immediately rolling into the kind of person that you are. So Jay-Z, for example, does this seamlessly in his legendary song Izzo, H-O-V-A. Starts with H to the Izzo, V to the Izzy, for shizzle my nizzle, used to dribble down in VA. Was herbing him in the home of the Turpins. Got a dirt sheet for them. Plus, if they were short with cheese, I would work with them. So Jay-Z introduces himself, says his name in a cool, interesting way. It's also the name of the song, good marketing right there. And then he immediately goes into storytelling about how he was running drug deals and really running down in Maryland. And nothing but a G thing, Snoop also starts the record by introducing himself and Dr. Dre before ordering the audience to back up because it's about to get real. 1, 2, 3 into the 4, Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door, ready to make an entrance, so back on up, because you know we about to rip this up. But if you notice here, like whether it's first person, second person, you're noticing a commonality of ordering the audience or getting the audience's attention, immediately describing what kind of person you are, or the surroundings that you're in, or basically what they can expect if they were to meet you in person. Again, very good marketing, and it introduces the vibe of the song. One way of thinking of this is the more that you can command the audience literally or lyrically, the more you can command them musically and they'll want to listen. Number 4 way is first person plus your aspirations. So other than the ways we've talked about when we're talking about your current circumstances or how you react, your behaviors, you can also use first person and describe what you dream about, what you want to happen, your desires, your aspirations. So in your first few bars, you can tell them about how you've always dreamed of getting a material item or affecting people in a certain way or bringing up your hood, like anything that is in your mind is a bright future, etc. In Juicy by the Notorious B.I.G., he tells us, it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine. Every Saturday, Rap Attack, Mr. Magic, Marley Marl. So here's a first person description of his aspirations as a youngin' to be on the level of his favorite rappers that he listened to every day. Similarly, J. Cole tells us that him or the person that he's describing wanted to get rich as a youngster in the start of A Tale of Two Cities. Since a youngin' always dreamed of getting rich, look at me, ma, fantasize about a white picket fence with some trees, ma. Used to want a Pathfinder with some tints. That's all I need, ma. In your case, the best way you can do a version of this is, in your wildest dreams as a rapper, what in 3 separate ways could you succeed, right? It could be financially, it could be socially, or it can be musically. So financially, you might describe what success looks like to you. Is it millions of dollars or just enough to feed your family? Socially, do you want to be the biggest artist or impact people more on a personal level? And musically, who are your influences? What are the records that change your life? Just like Biggie mentioned at the start of his verse. Jog your mind and get a clear vision of success as it is defined by you. And number 5 is second person plus a direct command to do something. So you can think of, for example, Nas in Hate Me Now, how he goes through pretty much the entire verse directly telling people what to do, especially to his haters. Don't hate me, hate the money I see, clothes that I buy, ice that I wear, clothes that I try, close your eyes, picture me rolling sixes, money folding. Now this is kind of a combination of a lot of what we've talked about, but the main difference here with second person in this example is you're changing who you're assuming you're talking to. So in the beginning, we're assuming with example Kendrick that we're talking to fans or listeners, but Hate Me Now is an example of where he's talking directly to haters or a negative participant in the story. So consider flipping who you're writing this to, much like Nas did, but using the second person plus command, and that can open up a lot of ideas as well. Now, this will not be the last video that we do on how to start a rap verse, so I want to know in the comments, what is your favorite rap song of all time? And look in the comments with all the other people participating, upvote a song if you really like it or it is also your favorite rap song of all time, and then we can consider making a video breaking down that specific song based on how many people have mentioned that is their favorite. I appreciate you watching. Hopefully this was helpful. Of course, be sure to pick up those free songwriting courses and all the other information in the video description box below, and I'll see you on the next video. It's the big homie Drew. I'm out.